In the spring of 2023, we headed to southern England to walk the historical Pilgrims Way from London to Canterbury and on to Dover. We anticipated rain and mud along the way, but we also were excited about walking through the beautiful Kent countryside and quaint villages. More than anything, we were excited about walking past and into, and even better, staying in, historical inns and pubs. In this video, we're going to share where we ate and stayed along the route, along with where we wish we had stayed and what we would do differently next time.
We arrived in London in the early morning, after an overnight flight where we got not a wink of sleep. Straight out of the airport, we got a taxi to our hotel to drop off a bag, and began walking to the official start of the Pilgrim Way, Southwark Cathedral. The first 3 or 3.5 miles took us through some sketchier areas along a pretty busy road. There was a different path along the Thames River to Greenwich, and we would definitely recommend that route. Even though our chosen way wasn't exactly scenic, there were some cool places like the Five Bells pub, which dates back to 1811 and was one of Charles Dickens' favorite places to write. We ended our first day of walking in Shooter's Hill, after about 9.5 miles. For dinner, we ate at the Red Lion pub, which was full to the brim with friendly locals and delicious food. Unfortunately, we couldn't find any lodging in Shooter's Hill, so we stayed at a hotel in London. In the future, we would walk further on to Bexley and stay there, because the taxi from London to Shooter's Hill was expensive and an hour long.
Next time, we would target staying here.
The Sunset Restaurant. It's got outdoor seating. Really nice. The British Institute Innkeeping, so that's an inn. The Sunset Restaurant, the Green Man Hotel, I think it's called.
We began the second day of our walk along the A2 and journeyed into more suburban areas. We arrived hungry at Lesnes Abbey around noon, so we grabbed some sandwiches and drinks there, explored the ruins, and kept moving. A couple hours later, we arrived in Erith and found our first pub of the day, The Ship. We had drinks and a snack at this lively establishment and kept walking towards Dartford, which was a total of 15.2 miles. In Dartford, we stayed at our first historic hotel, the Royal Victoria and Bull.
Oh my goodness. This vintage hotel was built in 1703 and has the crooked staircases, slanted walls, and low ceilings to prove it. The rooms are comfortable, the bathroom was top-notch, and character was oozing from every corner of this place. We had a wonderful meal in the restaurant, where Queen Victoria herself once dined, and loved the comfort of the old fireplaces and warm tea. We wouldn't change anything about our stay on day 2. It was just what we were looking for. Is it warm?
It's like...
And Dad's having an apple crumble. We're familiar with that, and it's a good thing. This is what you get in a 300-year-old hotel.
The ceilings are less than 75.
Day 3 started with an easy walk out of Dartford, and then a serene stroll along the River Derwent. The first town was Derwent at about 3 miles. We were hoping for a snack at the cool-looking Checkers or Jolly Miller, but we were out of luck since it was only a little after 8 a.m., and most pubs don't open till noon. We arrived at the Lion Inn in Farningham at about 8 miles.
This is our kind of place because outside it says, "Muddy boots and paws welcome." We're gonna see if the Lion Hotel is open for a cup of tea.
We're in the Lion Pub. I'm having some tea. Molly's trying peppermint tea, and Pablo's having some cider. If I do this walk again, I would break up day 3 into 2 days, with a stop either at the Lion Hotel or some other town before Oxford. This section had a lot of interesting places to stop, but we couldn't because we needed to walk about 20 miles that day.
We had lunch at the King's Arms in Shoreham, then stopped at a tea shop in Otford to give our feet a little break and sample some wonderful cakes. Our last stop of the day was at the Bell in Kemsing. This was a nice pub, but it was so full that there was nowhere to sit. So we drank a quick pint, of water in my case, had a snack in the light rain outside, and kept moving towards Rudham. This was a really long day, so we needed Rudham and the Bull Hotel to be epic. They did not disappoint. Rudham was full of great-looking pubs, but once we got to the Bull, we were not leaving. Their Spanish-influenced restaurant was delicious, and the whole place was warm and beautifully dry. There has been a hotel on this site since 1385, and this building itself is quite old. The Bull was a favorite destination for World War II fighter pilots coming from nearby bases, so it is decorated with interesting memorabilia from that era. The hotel now hosts weddings and events, and was even more beautiful than we were expecting.
From Rudham onwards, the Pilgrim Way just kept getting better. The only dark spot on day 4 was that we couldn't find an open pub for lunch. We had planned on eating in Halling, but the only pub we could find was closed.
So no luck on the Five Bells pub. It's closed, even though we went in. Isn't going to open till 4, because with the weather's bad, they're not open.
We ended up just getting a snack at Costa Coffee to get us through the afternoon.
The walk from Halling to Aylesford was only topped by the best and most interesting place we stayed on this trek, the Priory. This complex run by the friars dates from 1242. The friars of Aylesford were forced from their home by the forces of Henry VIII in 1538 during the dissolution of the monasteries. After that, the priory was used as a stately home, housing for armies and servicemen during World War II, and a scout camp. The friars repurposed the complex in 1949 and have made extensive renovations to bring it back to its former glory. The priory now serves as a center of prayer for all Christians in Kent and a dormitory space for pilgrims walking to Canterbury.
Rooms at the Priory aren't fancy, but who cares? This place is almost 700 years old, it's absolutely gorgeous, and pilgrims can stay here. Sign us up. We would never walk through Aylesford and skip staying at the Priory. Because we were walking the Pilgrim Way in March, the Priory did not offer dinner, so we made the short walk into the charming town of Aylesford. We wandered around for a while and tried out a few places, but we settled on dining at Checkers. We had the best meal of our trip here, and the atmosphere was warm and friendly. The Priory offers breakfast in the Pilgrims Hall every day. In spite of the fact that we were almost the only ones there, they served us the full English in a dining hall that was one of the oldest parts of the complex. What a way to start day 5.
This was our rainiest morning of the Pilgrim Way, so we really needed a warm, dry pub with hot food and cold cider. The Cockhorse pub in Detling fit the bill exactly.
We have arrived in Detling. And we see a pub that we're hoping is open. The Cockhorse. Please be open. It's just about lunchtime.
The food at the Cockhorse was good, but the scones were so good that we had some at the restaurant and we ordered more to go. Sometimes luck is in your favor, and that was the case for us today. When we emerged from the pub, the rain had stopped and the sun was out. We had a beautiful afternoon of walking on peaceful paths, past friendly and beautiful animals and views. We passed up the historic King's Arms pub because we were looking forward to the traditional Dirty Habit. Unfortunately, when we got to the Dirty Habit, it was closed for renovations. So we had a picnic to fuel us, and we kept moving. We ended the day at the Dog and Bear Hotel in Lenham. This 17th century hotel was visited by Queen Anne in 1704. That's her coat of arms over the door. And the main building of the hotel has a charming and cozy feel. Unfortunately, we got a room in a modern annex off the back that had no character. If you want to eat dinner here, you should reserve it in advance. We hadn't, so we went next door to the Red Lion pub. Steak and ale pie.
After a delicious breakfast at the Dog and Bear, we headed out on day 6 of our walk in beautiful, crisp weather we never get at home, past the Lenham Cross and through lovely woods and pastures. We had lunch at the Flying Horse in Boughton Leys, just outside of Ashford. This was definitely one of our favorite pubs. We were the only non-locals there, and they were extremely kind and friendly to us. The food was wonderful, and the decoration was so warm and comforting. A man there even told us what to expect in terms of the difficulty of the remainder of our trek to Canterbury.
After an easy afternoon of walking, we arrived in Chilham, my favorite town of the route. This is where we're staying, the Woolpack Inn, pub and restaurant. Awesome. We have time tonight for a little bit of a pub crawl. So we're gonna hit the tea room first, then a couple pubs. The Woolpack Inn was as charming inside as it was out, and it had a great location near the center of the village. This is an old town that is really well preserved, so try to get here with some time to walk around. Oh, lovely. Oh, this is the square. Wow, the square is. The White Horse Pub is from the 16th century and was filled with antiques and memorabilia from the area. It was a warm, relaxing place for a drink. We then walked back to the Woolpack Inn for a delicious dinner. This is another day about which we wouldn't change a thing.
Day 7 was an easy 7-mile walk into Canterbury, so we didn't make any eating stops on our way. We made a snack stop at the Bishop's Finger as we entered the old part of town, and then had some much anticipated afternoon tea for lunch at the packed Tiny Tim's tea room.
It comes with 4 half sandwiches, 2 giant scones, clotted cream, butter, jelly, and then some sweets. And of course tea. Pablo's having a sandwich. So there's the castle of Canterbury. What's left of it, which isn't a lot. And here's the Castle House Hotel, where we are staying. So this is our room at the Castle House Hotel. It's nice because it's actually a room for 4. So this is kind of a double-sized bed. And then Molly has her own area over here.
That night, after attending the amazing evensong service in the Canterbury Cathedral, we discovered the Old Buttermarket Pub, which was as cozy and historic as the food was delicious. We spent the next 2 days walking to Dover in the raining cold, but took public transit back to Canterbury for each night. We ended up eating at the Old Buttermarket at least once each day. The only other pub we'll mention from this section was the most interesting of our trip, the White Horse in Dover, a pub which has been there since 1574. All over the walls of the White Horse were the names of people who swam across the English Channel. usually with a short note. We entertained ourselves all throughout lunch, reading about people who had completed this amazing achievement.
All of the hotels where we stayed on this pilgrimage have nice websites that you can use for booking. They're easy to find online, and all were very responsive. They also have several room confirmations to choose from. We were able to get a triple room for every night.
Hopefully this video will be helpful to you in the planning of your Pilgrim Way. Let us know what you think about these hotels if you choose to stay there. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.